Ladies and gentlemen, I have found Cthulhu, and he's in my roof. Moving swiftly along. Hello everyone, welcome to Nether Expedition episode 16, and you may notice that the storage room looks a bit different. I've actually been using half slabs now. We've still, the navigational wooden line was half slabs, but they were upside down. But in 1.3, which is our main topic for today, upside down half slabs will still be able to spawn mobs. So I've had to actually convert these to regular half slabs. And I've been using the proceeds from our new stone generator to create this wonderful little pattern. So it gives a bit more variety. And I've done most of the same thing to Martin's abode, as well as a few other areas of the fortress. And, a few people were curious how I fixed this. Basically, mushrooms have a bit of a spawn limit, which is... I don't recall who told me this, but if there's too many mushrooms in like a 9x9 area or something, they will not spawn any more mushrooms. So because I had these walls completely full, they couldn't actually spawn anything, so they just stopped. But we've now been getting a reasonably regular proceed from that. And let's just take a look around, shall we? So yeah, goes all the way down here into Martin's place, where I'm kind of having to figure out something to do with the furniture, because it doesn't quite fit well. I might have to shift it down, but then it might be half a block too low, I'm not sure. Haven't done the bathroom, which is interesting, because that means there's a whole bunch of zombie pigmen wandering out of it. But I have done most of the other areas. And let's see, what else have we done? Yeah, we've gone along here. Haven't gone down here just yet. That is raining like the clappers, he says. Done up here, finally, which is great, because I didn't really like the way that we had the wooden half slabs that were going across the whole time. That was kind of annoying. These guys are still turning up, because I haven't finished the whole area. And also, this isn't half slabs, because I kind of like this raised view. That's nice, and I haven't gone down here very far. Same down here, just because in order to get the half slabs, in order to get the half slabs, I have to be stood here mining cobblestone, which, whilst it is now quite easy, is still a bit of a pain. But our job today is, with the advent of 1.3, ice blocks in the Nether will no longer create water. At least that's as far as we can tell from the snapshots. Consequently, that means we actually have to put a use to our ice blocks very, very quickly. But we also really want to, they're also really valuable around here, so we really want to be using them in as future-proofed a way as we can. And future-proof basically means building something in such a way that it does not become obsolete or irrelevant within the near future. For example, if you're foreseeing cars in the future, like cars being a big popular thing, you build a drive-in section to your restaurant. That's called future-proofing. It basically means making something relevant even in the future. So what I have a plan for is if we just head over onto our board, and everything looks a lot taller now. It's like, Walter still can't walk into this, but it looks huge, way raised. That's the effect of lowering things by half a block. But hey, I'm used to that, because I generally play Dwarven style. Okay, so we are building the Deep Springs, which is, we are going to climb up all the way to the bedrock top of the Nether at 128 blocks from the base. And we're going to be planting our ice blocks in strategic locations, such that we can then later channel the water that results to wherever we should need it. Now, I am going to have to do a little quick test in my test roll, which is not going to be particularly interesting to watch, but I just need to check to see if we can actually fill potion bottles with a stream of water as opposed to a source, because that will have to actually determine a bit of how I use this. But in the meantime, we're going to dig to this. We're going to dig as high as we can, and let's see, we can get there from up here, I think. I won't go through there, although there has been a lot of appreciative comments about the water cut, and I really like it, so that's good to know. Let's see, there's a stairway I've had for ages down here that leads up into the upper echelons. But I may have torn that out when I did this. Well, no matter, there's also another way up here. Of course, it's never rack. I can cut through it at like lightning pace, but nonetheless, it should make it easier. And then we can maybe have like a little route that goes to it later. Let's see, through here. And I'm kind of repeating an idea that Efo did on the Minecraft server, because he joined it fairly late, and there were ice blocks harvested, and some of them running in the Nether, but 1.3 was looming, just as it is now. Well, probably quite a bit more so. Well, I know this place. We need to put some water around here. Oh god, now I just remembered why I know this place. Let's hope we don't get bombarded. Some other news is I went to see Dark Knight Rises last night with another YouTuber, 8-Bit Monkey. And he's currently without his laptop because it has issues, so he can't really be doing his usual snapshot updates. Little Cat was there as well, and as it turns out, she is indeed smaller than me, which is a bit of an accomplishment, actually. But as usual, there had to be the comparison whenever two diminutive people meet in the wild, which Monkey was quite happy. Let's see, what else? I've been accepted into Gar's Kingslayer event with Crafted Dynasty, so that'll be interesting to do. That, I believe, is happening tomorrow, so that'll be fun to, I'll probably record that and put that up here as well. Something extra for you guys. And, yeah, Gar, I did, if you recall, the Name Your Creatures mod, which he's currently using to, big up his subscribers. Well, his, donators, specifically. And Monkey, actually, was interested in seeing, a small mod from me as well, so that'll be fun. Evidently, I'm getting some kind of notoriety as the guy who does mods for LPers. And there is the bedrock. This is as high as we want to go, really, although we could, in theory, just dig it straight in, but that'll limit the amount of stuff we can do. So here we have the bedrock. I have no clue where I am relative to the fortress now. Because I suppose the easiest way to find out would be to dig straight down, wouldn't it? But then, that's a bad idea in the overworld, and it's a really bad idea in the Nether, where there's gigantic seas of fire and lava and whatnot. Oop, and there goes our pick. Oh. Let's see. So let's go pick up another couple of pickaxes and check the details of where on earth we are. And maybe get some food, because I am jittering down there on the hunger bar. I still think it should be called stamina. That seems the most appropriate to me, calling it stamina. Actually, there's a thought. We could replace some of these lava falls with waterfalls. That'd be interesting. Might not fit so well in the Nether, though. Zoom. That was an annoying thing, I figured, because I went back and checked the library, and I found the supposed missing chest that I'd forgotten to loot. It turns out I'd looted it already, which is kind of a shame, because I was hoping to find some sugarcane in there, which I could then use to make speed potions. Because I have some, I'm gonna have some spare sand after making the glass for the bottles. So I was really hoping to get speed potions, because on one of the servers I'm on, I basically am the caretaker of a large dwarven settlement that's built inside of the very first stronghold that we found, and I'm pretty much always running around with speed potions there, because we have a lot of redstone and it works quite nicely. Extended speed potions. Can't really do that here. I mean, I could make speed 2 potions, but they last like a minute and a half. So if I was going to make any kind of potion like that, I'd probably just use the base version of it, which I think is like 3 minutes long as opposed to 8 when you add redstone. Well, it's a loss. I guess I'll just have to settle for making strength potions for the most part. I suppose I can make weakness potions. I think. It's been a while since I've checked that. I don't recall if rotten flesh or something is like an ingredient. I know I can make regen potions and splash potions, but considering I have a limited supply of bottles, that's a really stupid idea. So we went over here. And it is rather fittingly a very rainy day today in Darlington. Old Darlow. So we're just setting up our deep springs, which will allow us to do a bunch of stuff with a limited number of bottles. I'm just going to clear out an area, and I shall see you in a moment. After I've just I've been trying to balance the number of jump cuts that I've been doing, because I've been using them rather liberally recently, and I kind of prefer the time-lapse stuff. And by the looks of my returns on the videos, it looks like you've actually been thinking more or less the same thing. Because our viewing has gone down, rather annoyingly. That's oh well. Needs must as the devil demands. Although I suppose, considering that I live in hell, I'm probably the closest thing to Minecraft's Satan at this point. Like, I spent a while before I started recording this episode, just running around and axing pigmen in the face. So I guess I'm a bit of an evil person anyway. It's a lot of fun. In fact, there was one particular moment where there was a bunch of pigmen in the gold farm, but I couldn't reach them because I kind of need to extend a platform somewhere. But there was a bunch of pigmen outside, so I went upstairs, I punched one, and he had him follow me over to the gold farm. And then I punched him again, and that aggroed all of the pigmen inside of the gold farm, who then promptly jumped to their demises. Sibilance. Okay. Enter time-lapse mode, I think. Okay, so I'm currently stood by the coordinates exactly above where the storage room has its center. So we're going to put one here, and with a torch beneath it. And that will give us a nice little central point for around which we can build our little pentagon from the 5 remaining ice blocks that we have. Now, I don't actually know how to draw a pentagon, despite the generally geometric designs I've used for the fortress. So this is going to get very interesting very quickly. There we go. Right, so let's just leave this to melt, I think. I suppose I could just break it like I've done all the others. But, kind of in a rush. So, we're a bit of a distance from where I actually started digging, which is a bit annoying, but oh well. So we're going to head back and get a few more pickaxes, and we're going to try and clear out a reasonably large area around this initial spring. And then we're going to set up, I would say a network, but a network implies intercommunication. So we're going to be building up an array of these ice blocks with their water streams going wherever we like, wherever we want to put them, really. And that will allow us to put water wherever we need it. To a fault. The further away from the origin point, the lower it's going to have to go, which is going to be a problem. But hopefully we can manage this. And then our next project, I believe, is going to be the arena, which I've been putting off because the seats that I have designed for it are going to be a lot easier to do when we have the upside down half slab placement fix in 1.3. Oh god, no. No, I'm not listening. I am not going to go and spend the rest of this episode trying to fight a slime. Okay, block of iron gives us 9. And these furnaces have been seeing a lot of use at last. It has been some time since they'd actually been used particularly much. Just because I hadn't had much for use for them. Not much to smelt when you're in the Nether. Recently I've been using the blaze rods, which burn for 12 smelt, which is 4 more than your typical piece of coal or charcoal does, but 12 doesn't go into 64 evenly. I think it's like 5.3 recurring, that 12 goes into 64, so it's not as easy to use efficiently, but it does work, and I generally prefer my my coal and charcoal to it. Although in Tekkit, I've been mostly just preferring to have an electric furnace and a generator, so... which is another thing, Another Expedition, Episode 1, went up earlier in the week, and slight technical problems in that I grossly underestimated the volume of the M Atmos stuff, but I've turned that off for the second episode, so that shall hopefully be going up later today. Well, knowing YouTube, it'll be very later today, but we'll see. And that one, I guess, is going to be entitled I Done Goofed, and you'll see why in the video. And it's not because I broke my stone pickaxe in the first episode before I'd hit up any iron. All of that is fairly close to the truth. Okay, now we want a fairly large pentagon up here. And that's just so we can evenly distribute the access to water across the area. So we've got our central spring there, which gets us water wherever we need it to be around the fortress itself, and we can expand our water access around the Nether more or less wherever we want. So one thing we might want to try and look into getting up is a boat road. Sort of similar to the Eats Road that Efo worked on for a very long while, and I believe was more or less the beginning of his YouTube channel. Oh, speaking of beginning of YouTube channel, X is back on YouTube, it seems. He's been making a bunch of new Minecraft videos, he's got a bunch of other series running, and if you don't know who X is, he near as I can tell, he was actually one of the, like, the very first Minecraft Let's Players on YouTube. And there's a lot of people who kind of owe their, well, loss of bank wallet, I suppose, and also their LP series, more or less to his influence. And I too watched Xfinity's original series. I should probably go back and watch that, actually. It's a great series. But it sort of came to an abrupt end after a while, just because he kind of got bored with Minecraft. But he recently has been trying to revamp his channel. He's been taking suggestions and polls of his viewers and subscribers and whatnot, and more or less predictably, a substantial portion of them decided that they want to see more Minecraft. Which is understandable. I mean, it's more or less the major thing that most of them signed up to him for. So, hopefully, he'll be producing some cool stuff as well. I don't think he'll be producing more or less the same stuff I am, because he's currently working on sort of a complete the achievements kind of playthrough. It's very interesting to see him fumbling about again, because he's been gone for a while, and he's having to pick up a few things again. Oh, I wonder if this is that cave that curves around from that big one. Yeah, it looks like it's just another isolated cave. Although judging by the fire, it may have been ghast-driven. Because as we've seen, ghast will occasionally just fire at whatever happens to be in the vicinity. Whoa, that was a funny lag spike. I'm just going to check my recordings to make sure that my sound hasn't desynced again. Okay, well, it looks like my sound is still more or less synced. But I've also realized something. That always seems to pop up whenever I log out. Which is, I was a bit of a fool in putting this here, because we can't actually draw our pentagon now, because we need one water source for our potion room later on. We should only need the one because I don't believe it actually can be drained completely. You can't destroy a water source by taking a whole ton of water bottles out of it. But nonetheless, that means, well, we actually have a much easier job drawing a square with 5 points, one in the middle. But we need to go and put one of these ice blocks back so that I don't act like an idiot and use it again. But yeah, Dark Knight Rises. Last movie I saw before that was the new Spider-Man movie, which I did enjoy. It does change a few bits of the canon as far as I'm aware, but I enjoyed it. It was a nice new take, and it was good to see Peter back to having whoop. Yep, they'll turn up just about everywhere, won't they? Axe to the face. And for those counting at home, that was just the 3 hits with an axe, whereas standard hits with a similar sort of material will take actually 4. I have actually been doing some math recently to try and work out how best to optimally hit things with an axe. And it turns out critical hits are more or less the best way to go. Which means that I'm jumping in the air and like whacking people in the face with an axe with a downward stroke, and that actually is pretty cool. And yeah, looks like we're okay up here. So those ones over in the guest catcher are going to be a bit lonely. But what was I going to do? I just put this ice block back before I use it. And that slime is still there, evidently. Grr. I do actually have a use for slimes. I can actually make the fire resistance potions with them. But beyond that, they're not actually all that much use. Good lord, we have a lot of netherrack. We actually have quite a surplus of nether brick as well, so I may have to separate that into its own chest. Right, here we go. And plonk this back. And that should be everything for now. So, back to the waters. Some plans I have for the water is, for the arena, I'm going to have to either make a second iron golem farm, which is going to be a huge pain in the butt, or make some way to transport them from here over to the arena rather than having them go into that. And The easiest way to do that, I suppose, is to have a second gate that I can open and shove them into, with water coming down to flush them along to the arena, more or less. There are more complex ways I can do it. There's a system back in Stormhaven, I think, that I've mentioned a few times. Push a button and they either burn, or they can push a button and they can get flushed down to the streets, and that kind of system would be perfect here, but we really don't have the resources. That's the thing. I found some redstone and some pistons inside of the library, but they're still very, very hard to come by. They're still a very limited amount. It's like the most valuable thing I've gotten from that library was almost undoubtedly these ice blocks, these water sources to put where I see fit. And now I think we're gonna go with a range of about 120 blocks. Because that's a nice round number. And 120 this way. Well, actually 60 this way and then 60 that way. So we have a nice square with the storage area in the middle of it. And 60 blocks in this direction. Oh, 59, more or less, wouldn't it be? No, that's right, we need an odd number. Let's see, a chunk is 16. So if we say 2 chunks on more lag, what is causing that? Is there like a forest fire going on above here or what? That's the thing. If I could break through this, then I could actually get back into the service. Oh. Yeah, but let's see, 16, so 32 blocks in all directions, perhaps? That's about 60 across on either, well, 65 across on all sides. So that's a much smaller area, but we might actually keep the chunks loaded. Also, there's a fairly large probability I won't ever travel that far. But here we go. So if we count this as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, and 32. Or as Vion Joystick, as Doc M would say. Okay, and now we do the same on the other sides. I may have a jump cut here, I'm not sure, just because you don't need to see a time lapse of me counting a lot. And our torch there. So now we need to line these up so that we can then put our spring where it needs to be. We don't really need to clear out this area, but we might want to build something reasonably decorative up here at some point. Just gonna do something with this. There we go, nice visual marker. Okay, in the arena, the challenge calls for an Iron Golem versus Blaze arena, which means that we need to build it near a Blaze spawner. And we also, ideally, need to be able to control that Blaze spawner. And the best way we can do that is by encasing it and all sorts, but the Blaze spawners that we have in the vicinity are both ones that we captured with Larry. Good old Larry, we all miss him. So I'm thinking of calling it the Larry Memorial Arena. Because, hey, everyone needs to remember Larry. And, let's see, so we're going to have probably an entrance area for Blaze and an entrance area for Iron Golems and ways to open them automatically. Or at least open them remotely, because heck knows I do not want to be near the Blaze. And the largest design problem with it is having a place where I can sit and watch the fights without being murdered by Blaze. Because Blaze, when they detect an enemy, will start flying straight upwards, where the Iron Golems are entirely incapable of dealing with them. So yeah, we need to have a way to be fully enclosed, and we should probably get some spectators, I suppose. We could probably get some villagers pumped over. Because that's one of the good things about the villager pens in the Iron Golem farm is they are so tremendously crowded. Which, besides the fact that I should probably be arrested for like Geneva Convention issues, they're so tremendously crowded that if you just open one door, then like 5 of them will shoot out, no problem. Let's see if I could just get some coordinates. It'll be a lot easier that way. Okay, so minus 76. And oh yes, I was looking at the codes recently for the way that players travel through portals, because it's always kind of bugged me that players are the only things that can pass through regular portals. And hello there, did you wander up? Suppose you must have. I should probably kill you at some point. Vengeance and all that. So but yeah, it's always kind of bugged me that you need a super portal to get things like villages and stuff through, but players will quite happily just take a regular old portal. Seems like a very bizarre way for the world to work. But it turns out that the reason that it turns out that the way that it works actually also ties in with the reason that beds explode in the Nether. Which is probably a great thing that there's no wool around here for me to use to make one. And the reason for that is that there is a dimension variable in coordinates, which determines whether it's in the end or if it's in the Nether or if it's in the overworld, like here. So here, the Nether is -1. And I can't quite recall what the end is, but I believe the overworld is just 0. And your spawn points, like the generic world spawn point where you first show up, and the spawn points that you can set through beds, have an X and a Y and a Z coordinate, but they don't have a dimension variable. So as far as beds and spawn points are concerned, you are always going to spawn in the overworld. There is no code allowing you to spawn in any other dimension. Which is a bit limiting, I think, but more or less. Consequently, when you pass through a portal, you aren't actually being sent anywhere, more or less, at least as far as the code determines it. What you're actually doing is, what's actually happening is you're being teleported to a position in the destination dimension. Yeah, it's a very interesting little thing to look at, but let's see. I need to count out another pair of 32s, and then we shall have our full square. So, time for another time lapse, I think. Okay, and with this last ice block, I claim the deep springs complete. So, we shall now go and break the ones that have already melted. Well, we'll get rid of the torches, move them at least. And we will then have, I guess we'll have a little fountain going into the storage room, since we are right above it. If I don't drown in the Nether somehow. Yep. Yeah, I'm probably going to clear this area up a little bit more and make it look a bit more presentable. Because the devil's in the details, and I'm in hell, so probably worth looking into. Yep. I actually had a disturbing conclusion recently, which was, I've been doing Nether Expedition for 4 or 5 months now. I don't recall what the specific figures are. And I'm actually, well, I'm now doing a Nether, which is also in the Nether. And on a lot of servers I'm in, I'm also fairly commonly in the Nether. In fact, I spend a large portion of my time either underground in a dwarven stronghold, or just, you have to wait for this to melt, or in the Nether, working on the stronghold's Nether hub, basically. I've actually become more accustomed to being in the Nether than I have to being in the overworld. It's like creepers, I know what they are, skeletons, I know what they are, zombies, I definitely know what they are, spiders too, but they're not something I generally ever have to consider much. Pigmen and ghast are more or less the main things that I think about, and Netherrack is more or less the main thing that I'm working with, so I'm actually a lot more used to being in the Nether than I am to being in, like, Earth these days. Yep. And that's all of them. So that's kind of a disturbing thought. I'm now more at home in hell than I am on Earth. Comparative heaven. I guess there are some advantages to it. Sorry, I'm using my WASD keys to move around right now because I'm trying to drink my tea. Because for all the rain that we've gotten, all the dealing with water, I'm quite parched. Okay, now I know I'm directly above the storage area. I don't think there's any caves that way, but I guess I'm about to find out, because I'm going to pull up. Careful not to break this thing, we've just got it. Okay, just going to break a cardinal rule, I guess, and dig down. Let's see, what am I... 110. I don't actually know how far down the stronghold is. I guess I'm about to find out. Oop. Okay, so here's that cave. Now, if you ever actually have to, for some reason, dig straight down, it's always best to do it whilst you're sneaking or crouching in between 2 blocks. So as you can see, I'm digging away 1, but as long as there's no one beneath to the side of it, I'm not falling. That is an excellent way to do this, because it means that even if you do hit lava, you're not going to fall into it. Of course, it does, however, double the amount of blocks that you have to mine, but that's a small price to pay for, there we are, not trashing your diamonds. Okay, so there's the center. Walter is about to get an interesting surprise. Just hit that macro. Macros I'm finding are tremendously handy to have. But I did actually get... I got some people saying on the Reddit, because I made a post about it when I first got it, because it was so amazing, and I was so happy to have it. But, I got one guy saying that it was cheating and I shouldn't be doing it and all sorts, but really? Cheating in Minecraft? Unless you're, like, breaking into a server or something, I don't really see how you can cheat in Minecraft. Okay, and there we are. Down it comes. Just swim up here and clean this up a little bit. Yep. get rid of this tunnel, because we don't really need this anymore. It's just kind of a bit unsightly to have it spiraling around. But yeah, apparently it's cheating, and like servers that he was on don't allow things like mouse key bindings. But I don't really see any particular reason against it. I mean, what's the absolute worst you can do? Really, you can the worst you could possibly do is sit in front of a cobblestone generator or something with your key bindings set to constantly be mining, which I have a button to do, I will grant. But really, eventually your pickaxe is going to break or something, or just almost managed to drown. Okay, let's just isolate this so Walter can actually move around again. Okay, that's almost it. And there. Whoop. And looks like we have a friend. Pity. That's interesting. The critical hit damage actually does vary a little bit. It's up to half again as much damage, I believe, is the specific description. You can't drown, so you should be fine here. Yep. Perfectly well and good. Having a shower. There it is. Okay, so I may make something a bit more fancy with this later on. Gassy golem. But for now, we have our waters in. We have our deep. We have our. It's taking me a long time to say this sentence. We have our deep springs, so we shall remove this from the to-do list, and I shall catch you all next time in 1.3. And meanwhile, look out for me in Kingslayer by Gar, also known as Figrulin on YouTube. I shall put a link to his YouTube in the description. And also check out 8-Bit Monkey, because he is a fun dude. And, ooh, we have quite a few of these now, don't we? That's my harvest. So yeah, I shall catch you all next time. I thought I would commemorate the moment where I inaugurate the fact that we can now acquire cobble inside of the Nether here. Which is right here. Don't explode, don't explode. You are joking. Oh, you've got to be... Seriously?